Alright, I'm going to walk through the Lesson 7 Conditionals practice with you guys. If you had trouble working through any of these, that's the purpose of this video, to kind of walk you through some of that trouble. So I've already assigned this to you, and you should have given a good attempt all the way through, but there might be some points where you got hung up on it. So I'm going to walk through each piece. And if there is a part that you know you've done well and you have no questions on, feel free to fast forward to what you do need to see. Alright, so on this one we want to read the code and predict what will appear in the console. So I'm going to do that first, looking at the code here. So line 2 says Q1, or sorry, question 1 is 3 less than 5, and so it's just going to repeat that. In console 3 we have this Boolean expression says 3 less than 5, and so we're going to get an answer either true or false. In this case it's going to say true. So then line 4 is going to say is 3 equal to 5. Line 5 is going to remember, you got your two equal signs is just asking the question, is 3 equal to 5? And here it'll come out false because 3 is not equal to 5. 6 will ask, is 3 greater than 3? And then in line 7 we're testing that, and it should say false. Question 4 is 2 times 2 greater than or equal to 5? And 2 times 2 we know is 4, and that's not greater than or equal to 5, so in line 9 we should get a false. And then line 12 has some questions without answering it, so it says add code below to answer these questions, and I'll go ahead and do that real quick here. So we need to console log for 13. I'll move down to 14, that's okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and delete what's here. And we want to know, is 10 less than or equal to 10? So I'm going to put 10 less than equal to 10. And then on 15 it says, is 10 minus 3 greater than 3 times 3? Again, I'll put another console log in on line 16, and I'll test that out with a Boolean expression. So in parentheses I'll put 10 minus 3 greater than 3 times 3, so 3 asterisk 3, close parentheses. So that's what you want to type in, and then run the code. And it's running. Here we have it. Is 3 less than equal to 5? Got our false. Is 3 greater than 3? We have false. Is 2 times 2 greater than or equal to 5? False. Is 10 less than or equal to 10? True. Is 10 minus 3 greater than 3 times 3? False. And that's what ran in the code, and that's all we need to do on that part. And you click finish, and it'll bring you to the next bubble here. Here we're going to read the code and predict how questions 1 or 2 will be answered, and then we're going to run the code and watch the console to check our prediction, and then we're going to add code to questions 3 and 4. We'll need to write Boolean expressions with variables. So line 1 we have a variable score set to the value of 10. 2 we initiate another variable called lives with the value of 3. And then we got some comments in 4 and 5. Predict how questions 1 and 2 will be answered, then run the code, check your prediction. 6 says, is score plus lives less than 13? And so 7 is going to take the value of score, which is 10, plus the value of lives, which is 3, so that's 13. So it's really saying, is 13 less than 13? So it's going to read false. And then in line 10 we have, is lives times 3 equal to score? Well, again, lives is 3, so 3 times 3 is 3 times 3 equal to score, which is 10. Again, that's going to run register false. So just to, well, I'm going to go out of the order. I'm going to go ahead and answer the questions on 15 and 16. So 15 is asking, is score minus lives greater than 5? So I'm going to type that in parentheses, score minus lives greater than 5. And down at line 21 we have another question, and I'll drag this in hopefully below that. Here we go, line 22. And it's hard to read the whole thing, but here we go. Is score times 2, I'm going to type that in, get rid of the quotes. In parentheses I'm going to put score times 2 greater than or equal to lives times 10. And I'm going to run that code. And so here's question 1, comes out false. Question 2 is lives times 3 equal to score. We predicted false, there it is, false again. And then we evaluated the other one. So is score minus lives greater than 5? We got true. And is score times 2 greater than or equal to lives times 10? False. And moving on to the next section. Read the code for questions 1 through 3, predict the answers, run the code to check your predictions, add code to answer questions 4 and 5. You'll need to write Boolean expressions that use logical operators. And again, just know as you're watching through this, if you haven't done something, you can always hit pause, try it out, and then unpause and watch what I'm doing. I'm not going to be telling you to pause throughout this, but that's something that you can always do. So here in lines 1 through 3, we initiate 3 variables with their corresponding values. So fruit servings is equal to 3, veg servings is 5, and grain servings is 4. And so then in line 7 we're asking the question, am I eating more than 3 fruit servings and more than 5 vegetable servings? And look at the Boolean expression here. It's compound, where we have fruit servings greater than 3, and then you got the symbol for and, veg servings greater than 5. And then it will evaluate that. So fruit servings we know is 3. Is that greater than 3? That's false. So we already know this statement's going to be false, because for an and statement to be true, both sides have to be true. Veg servings is 5, and that's, so actually we have a false and a false. It's just for sure going to be false here, right? In line 12 we're checking if grain servings is less than or equal to 4, and grain servings is 4, and it's not less than, but it is equal to 4, so that first part will read true. And then it says fruit servings less than or equal to 4, and fruit servings is 3, which is true. So line 12 is going to be true and true, which in order for that to read true as a complete statement, both of the subparts need to be true, and it is. So that one will be true. And then on line 16 we see we're checking if grain servings is 5 and if fruit servings is not equal. Remember, the not is the exclamation mark, right? So fruit servings not equal to 2. Well, grain servings is 4, so that's false. And I said and, but it's an or statement here. The 2 looks like absolute value symbol there, represents the or. So we have a false or, and then fruit servings is 3, so that's not equal to 2. So you got a false or a true. And when you have an or compound statement like this, only one of them needs to be true for the whole thing to be true. And so this would register as true. And so we're going to do something similar. I'll insert a console log in 21 and delete what's there. And it says, am I eating exactly 3 grain servings? So I got to type in grain servings in parentheses. Grain servings, capital S. Careful to type it in, right? Equal, so I do double equal sign to 3, and then close the parentheses. Or, so put in the or symbol. Exactly three fruit servings, so in parentheses, fruit servings, capital S for servings, double equal sign 3. I think I got everything that's there. Yep. And so that should test that part out. And then I'm going to type in one more. Put it under 25. Delete what's there. Am I eating 5 or fewer vegetable servings? So in parentheses, I'm going to put, is it veg servings? Let's see how they write it. Yep. VEG, capital S, servings. And 5 or fewer. So veg servings less than or equal to 5. Close the parentheses. And, so I'm going to put the and symbol in, so double ampersand there. Open the parentheses. Any amount besides 5 grain servings. Okay, so grain servings not equal. So the exclamation mark equal sign, so not equal to, what was it, 5? Yep. And close parentheses. Alright, and then you could run the code, make sure everything's working good. And if it's going too slow for you, you can speed it up a little bit here. So we got false and true like we predicted, and then and then true and true. And question 5 is true. Alright, on to the next section. So here we're to build an app where the star changes colors based on the number of clicks. Add clicks to the watch window in the bottom right. Okay, so we have our watchers here on the bottom right. And there we go. Now we can type in clicks here. Hit add. And so now add a Boolean expression to the if statement that checks if there are 5 or more clicks. Test the app to see if it turns red if there are 5 or more clicks. You will be stuck in text mode until you debug the problems in the code. And you can see that if I try to show blocks, it's not going to allow me to get back. So looking at the code here, we create this variable clicks. And then we got some comments. When the star is clicked, increase the count by 1. And so we have an on event showing when the star is clicked, clicks becomes clicks plus 1. And then you set text. This is going to happen on the screen here. It'll show the number of clicks. And then we want to add the Boolean statement here. And again, what was the statement? The statement was if we have 5 or more clicks, then we want the color to change. So if, in parentheses here, clicks is greater than or equal to 5. And let's just try it out. So I'm running the program, I click on it once, twice. You see the number of clicks increasing. 3, 4, 5. Right at 5 it turned red, and that's what we were hoping for. And then also notice, I'll hit reset. You can now, because we've debugged this, we can change it back to block mode if we wanted to. So I'm going to hit finish and on to the next one. Here we're to add code to this project so the star changes colors based on the number of clicks. Run the code to see how it works. Alright, so let's run our code right now. At 1 it turns red, and it looks like it's just staying red. Okay. So change the if statement into an if-else statement by clicking the plus sign, and we can see that down here we got the if statement at line 7. There's a little plus sign here. If I click that, it opens up to an if-else statement. So it says change that by clicking the plus. Add code in the else section to make the star orange. Okay. So what we want here is when there's no clicks, so if I reset this, no clicks, we want it to be black, and by default that's what it is. When we get to 1 click, we want it to turn red, and it does. Okay, and we want to stay red until we get to 5. Once we get to 5, we want it to change to orange. So I'm going to change it to text mode and copy this statement here, the set property, and by hitting Control C, and I'm going to paste it in 10 by hitting Control V, and I'll just go back to show block mode, and you can see I quickly got in this set property star icon color, but I don't want red, I want orange, so I'm going to just replace the text with orange. And let's try rerunning this. And so it turns red when I get 1, and then when I get to 5 it changes to orange, and that's exactly what we want. Okay, on to the next section. Here we want to run the program to see how it works, add code to the if-else if command to make the star change to the colors indicated. And so now it's getting a little more complicated. We got a lot of different colors going on here, and they show you a little, show you what's going on the right hand side too. Okay, and so we're going to be working on that part. So here we have some stuff with the if-else already. By default we see that it's black, so we've covered the black, and then we want it to be red from 1 to 4. So that first if statement says if clicks is less than 5, and it's only going to get to that if once we click it, right? So that it's only going to get inside here if click is 1. So then that's what changes it to red. So we're good there. If clicks are less than 10, else if clicks are less than 10, then it's going to change to orange, which is what we want, less than 10. Then we need to add some more, so I'm going to hit the plus sign a few times here. Well, I don't know how many times I need it yet, but our next statement here, we want to go from orange to yellow. So I'm going to change this one to yellow. And that's going to happen if clicks is less than 15. Or you can put less than or equal to 14 if you want. Because we want it from 10 to 14, we want it to be yellow. And you can check to make sure it's working right here, or you can continue to add some more statements. I'll add another statement, else if oops. We'll just change it to show text mode here. Copy and paste. So we want going from yellow to green. And that's going to happen if clicks is, do less than or equal this time. Green when it's less than or equal to 19. And now we're adding in blue, and then we're going to have violet and then pink. So that's going to be it for us. I'll hit copy and paste again, and I'll paste it in all 3 spots here. Go back and modify the code to what I want it to be. So we left off with green, so after green we want blue. After blue we want violet, and after violet we want pink. And we want it under certain conditions, so we want blue when clicks is, I'll do less than or equal to 24. We want violet when clicks is less than or equal to 29. And if it doesn't meet any of those requirements, we want it to be pink. So let's test this out. Make sure it runs the way we want it to. So notice 0 clicks, it's black. I click it once, it turns red. Up to 4, and then when I hit 5, it goes to orange. All the way up to 9. When I click it the 10th time, it changes to yellow. All the way to 14. And when I click it the 15th time, it's green. When I click it the 20th time, it's blue. 25th time, it turns violet. And 30th time, it turns pink and stays pink as many times as you click it. And there we go. So I'm going to hit finish. On to the next. Here we need to debug the code. The star never turns orange. Run the app on turtle mode to determine why the star never changes to orange. Now turtle mode is the speed of your program, right? So right now it's on rabbit mode, which means it runs super quick. And if I hit that and just got yellow, green, blue, pink, pink again, so just not turning orange for some reason. And we need to identify the error and fix the code. So let's take a look at the code here. And locate our orange. Orange is happening at line 12, right? Or 11 and 12. And if we're looking at the ordering here, so we're only going to get inside this block of code once during this on event whenever the stars clicked. So whenever the stars clicked, it's going to run this code and run through this conditional here, the if statements, and do it happen. So I'll hit reset and run. And so right now I haven't even clicked, so by default it's black, but once I click on it, it ran through here and it said if clicks is less than 5, we got red, right? So it's gonna stay red until we got something that's bigger than 5. So now when it's 5 on the 5th click, it runs through this, checks if clicks is less than 5, and it says nope, that's false. So then it goes to the next part. If clicks is less than 15, which it is, it's 5 right now, then it's going to make it yellow. But that's not what we want. We actually want it to be orange. And so the issue with this code here is we need to swap the orange and the yellow because we want it to be orange when clicks is less than 10. And then if it's not less than 10, then we want it to go to yellow, right? And so that's the issue here. And so I'm going to go just into text mode to modify this a little bit. So I'm going to change the 15 to 10 and the 10 to 15. And I'm going to change yellow to orange and orange to yellow. And so in a sense we're just swapping places. And if you rerun that, it should have fixed it. See that it turned orange now, and then it goes to yellow, and we get all of our colors. So that's how we fix that. On to the next section. Alright, here we have equivalent Boolean expressions. Some conditional statements can be written as Boolean expressions and vice versa. Let's see what this looks like. So do this, run the code and look at the first example. So if I hit run the code, and I guess the first example is in our code. And so we're just going to follow our code here. Let me hide the instructions now. So here it says example 1, the Boolean expression on line 4 is another way of writing the conditional statement on lines 7 through 11. So on line 4 we see, well, let's look at 7 through 11 here. 7 says if y is less than 6, then x is true, else x is false. Okay, so we're setting a value to the variable x. And so you could do that. So you could write all that code there to give a value of true or false to x, or you can do it all in one quick statement here where you assign a variable x and then you give it a value of true or false based on this conditional statement y less than 6. So it's just a shorthand of what we see from 7 to 12. Example 2, the Boolean expression is written for you below. Write the conditional statement that represents the same thing. Okay, so just like we saw written in line 4 and then 7 through 11 meant the same thing, we're going to do that for this. And I'll change it to block mode for us in this case. So we're going to need an if-else. Let's drag this one in. And our first conditional is based on what a is. So if a is greater than 2, then we're going to assign values to the variables. So I'll go to variables. This one right in here. I'll grab it twice. And so if it's greater than 2, it gets the value true, and true is not a string, so don't use quotes. And if not, then it gets the value false. And so when I run it again, it should read false, false, true, true. So let's try that. Well, actually, it's not going to run that because I need another console log. Do console log output B here. Now let's try it. And we got false, false, true, true. And there we have it. So from here, you learned a little bit of how to write that in shorthand on 4. Let's go to the next section. Alright, do this. Remember the can I adopt a cat flowchart. So this is just from the video that you guys watched a couple sections back. You see the picture on the right here, and we're going to add code to get the number of users inputted for age and money, and we're going to use the getNumber function and the getText function as well to make sure the values are stored as numbers and not strings. Instead of getText. We're going to write a Boolean expression inside of the if statement that checks if the money is equal to 40 and age is over 14. And you'll need to use logical operators. Remember, you can find the ID of the screen element by hovering over it with your mouse. So if I hover over this, you see the location and the ID is adopt button. Here we got no cat, money number, age label, money label. So that's a nice little feature to be able to see that just by hovering over it. Okay, so I'm going to close the instructions and work on the code. And notice we have these red errors, and so we will not be able to get into block mode because of those errors. So if I run my code right now, again, I have some errors that happen. And we see in the debug console, line 13, that's the first unexpected error that happens. So we have variable age initiated at value of 0, money is initiated at 0. We have an on event when somebody clicks the adopt button. It's going to hide the elements. It's going to resets the images each time the adopt button is clicked, so it hides the yes cat and it hides the no cat statements. We need to update the variables here, and we need to write expression below that checks if age is over 14 and if money equals 40. And so all this needs to take place here. Alright, so for updating our variables, when somebody clicks the button, we're going to want to ask the person their age, and we're going to ask we want to get their age, and we want to get how much money that they're, I guess, willing to spend. And so in line 10, I'm going to go ahead and say that age, because age was by default 0, so age is going to equal, and here's where we're going to say get number, and we'll say age number. Okay. So when the program runs and you'll see a box come up and ask the user to input that number. I'm going to end this. You end each statement with a semicolon here, and then money. We're going to update that value is going to get number again, and then in terms of the string, you got to write what you want the user to see so they know what to put in. And I'll just write money number. Okay. And then we want to write that if statement. And so we need the money to be 40. Let's look at our instructions again. It says that the money needs to be equal 40, and age is over 14. So I'm going to put that in my Boolean statement here. Money is equal, double equal sign, to 40, and double ampersand, age greater than 14. I should probably put some spacing in here. Okay, and then we're going to show the element yes cat, else show the element no cat. So let's give that a try and see what happens. So I'm running, and again, look at our code. It's the first thing that happens when you run your code is we initiate age at 0 and money at 0. Nothing else is happening because we haven't clicked the adopt button. And so I'm going to click the adopt button, and it says no, because I don't right now. I haven't updated my age and my money, so I need to update those values first. So I'm going to say, well, I am 32, and I'm going to give $40. And then I'm going to hit, can I adopt cat now? And it's going to say yes. All right, so I got my yes. And so again, line 10 is updating age to this value here. If I hit reset, you see the ID is age number, and that's what we're updating it to, age number. And money is being updated to whatever we put here. The ID is money number. And so that's how that program runs. Now that's running, I can go back to block mode and work in that mode if I wanted to. Anyhow, next page. Oops. Let's try that again. Here, we're asked to add these two changes to the way the Kitten Adoption app works. 40 or more. Right now, you can only adopt a cat if you have exactly $40. Update the code so that you can adopt a cat if you have 40 or more dollars. And then Teenager Day. It's Teenager Day at the animal shelter, and only teenagers are allowed to adopt cats. Update the code to prevent anyone under age 13 or over 19 from adopting the cat. All these rules can be written in a single Boolean expression with multiple logical operators. Test the code to make sure your modifications have worked, and these are the values that we're going to have to test, and this is the output what we should get. Okay. So if we look at our code first, I'll close this up here. So we're going to update the money here, and I'll change it to show text mode. Might be a little easier to work in that. I guess I do need to see the instructions here. So first of all, we want 40 or more. So instead of equals 40, I'm going to change that to greater than or equal to 40. So if the money is greater than or equal to 40, and instead of just age being greater than 14, we want it to be between, so to prevent anyone under the age of 13, that means we accept 13, right? Or over the age of 19. So I'm going to modify this and put another compound statement here. So if anybody is under the age, so less than 14, or, so put your or symbol in, age is greater than 19, now think with me here, okay? So this is going to test if someone is under 14 or above 19, right? And if we read on Teenager Day, we want to prevent those. So we want to see if that's true, and then if it is true, make it false. So I'm going to, in front of that parentheses, I'm going to negate it with, so the opposite, right? So if it's not this, where you have age greater than 14 or age greater than 19. Think through that a little bit. This one's a difficult one to try to write. But so I'm just putting what we don't want and putting a not in front of that. Okay, and so let's test this out now. And we're going to try out their values. So we're going to go age 18, and the money's 40, and we get a yes, and that's what we should have. And then we're going to try age 18 and 50, and hit click it, and it's a yes again. And then we're going to go age 12 with 50, we get a no, and that's what we want. And we want age 13 and $39, we get a no. And then lastly, age 20 and $100, click the button and we get a no. So our code is working the way it should work. Notice in my code I have this yellow value here, and it's telling me I'm missing a semicolon. So you always want to end with semicolons. The code was running without it, but it's just saying, hey, we need that. So I put that in there, it went away. On to the next one. And then here you just have AP reference sheet. The AP reference sheet shows how conditional type questions will be represented on the exam. So when you guys do get to your AP exam, this is something that they will give you. And it's kind of small on my screen, but you can zoom into this. And so you can see what they give you. They have text blocks. They talk about relational and Boolean operators, and more here, and so on. And this is what the coding is going to look like on your AP exam. And so there's a practice question here, and it's just asking what will be displayed after this code segment is run. And so we call this pseudocode. It's not specific to any coding language out there, because some AP classes study JavaScript like we are, and then other AP computer classes use other languages, and we have the freedom as teachers to teach you this in any computer language we wish. And so they're going to make up their own fake code, which we call pseudocode, and it'll look like this when you're taking your AP test. So it should look familiar. And so you just want to answer that practice question here, and you have different options how to answer. I'll let you do that part. And then you also have one more question that you want to answer here. Same kind of thing. You got your reference sheet that you can look at, and you got a practice question. This time the code's written a little differently, right? So make sure you have those answered, and hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you in class tomorrow.